This is stage 13, so it's been a lucky position for Kyopuchi this morning and a lucky day. But there's no luck in this. This shows tenacity and endeavour by Claudio Kyopuchi to ride up as he did to catch Miguel Indurain, who started in 5th place at 4:44, Kyopuchi at 8:51.
Yes, and small roads here as we come towards the finish. We're back here with Moto 2. You can see that's the second motorbike camera, back with the second group. Gianni Bruno riding on the front again. He seems to be doing most of the work on the climbs, trying to hold the deficit of these front two riders. The gap between the front two riders and this threesome is 2 minutes and 7 seconds. Fignon looks to be suffering a little bit in the wheels though there as they come under the flag for 10 kilometres to go.
It's now gone to 2 minutes and 17 seconds. We've got to put my watch on when they went through, so in fact they just lost another 10 seconds as we've been on air giving the ladies time check. So they are suffering and the pressure is on at the front between Indurain and Kyopuchi, both of whom looked remarkably relaxed and confident. 2:14, oh well, who's going to argue about that climate? 2:17, just 3 seconds.
Well, they do look like the two best riders of the day out here, don't they? They both seem to be relaxed. They have done all day, although Bruno was looking very good and Motte as well. But I think the biggest revelation of today has been Laurent Fignon's comeback from being so far behind, catching the group, and now being out the front. He's right up there in the action. And
this little chasing group, 2, 4, 5 of them, have yet to get to the 10-kilometre banner. So the last time we heard them, whoops, that was a very nasty one around there. They're on the bit of a descent here, and their gap is somewhere around about 5 minutes.
Well, they have to be careful on these descents coming down here, because if it's so hot, a lot of these roads in the Pyrenees can melt in the heat, and if you ride across some of this melting asphalt in a corner, you can easily slip off and take a lot of skin off your body, get asphalt mixed up in the skin that's ripped open when you fall, and it's a very horrible sight to see.
And there they are with Boyer still doing a lot of work. Le Monde on his wheel shows us in 3rd, Andy Hampson 4th, and Gerard Roux sitting at the back in 5th spot in this little group. And they are therefore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're now looking at overall 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th on today's stage. That's the top 10. We've already seen the top 5 go through. Indurain, Kyopuchi, followed by Bruno, Motte and Fignon. And this other 5 here make up the 10 top riders in today's tough stage. 232 kilometres heading, these riders are to where the other men in front are already tackling the climb of the Val d'Aran. The first time the Tour de France has finished up this first category climb, 1,420 metres to the very top of the climb. And they'll be thankful to get there, because now it is beginning to hurt yet again.
Well, I think they're at the base of the climb now. They'll be starting the ascent to up towards the finish. It's quite difficult, 8.4% steepness. Greg LeMond looks to be hanging his head a bit again. Boyer's looking around to see if Greg's doing all right in his wheel, if he's not getting dropped. He wants to make it high as pace as he can without getting Greg dropped out of his wheel.
So there they go then, and still not yet got to the 10 kilometre to go banner. We'll take a time check when they do.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association with Isostar, the fast-acting isotonic thirst quencher. 78th Tour de France, the world's premier cycling race. 22 stages, 3,940 grueling kilometers, reaching the mountains on...
Enthusiastic support along the route here to Indurain, the Spaniards out in 4th in the Pyrenees, and what a great day they've got, because they've got this man in the lead with Claudio Kyopuchi for company, and Kyopuchi now, as they're getting up to probably, I would think, around about 7 or just over 7 kilometres from the top of this climb. The last time check, 2 minutes 17 seconds back to Bruno, Motte and Fignon. 5 minutes 36 seconds to Boyer, Le Monde, Chozas, Hampston and Rouet. And the crowd's beginning to thicken, the encouragement coming thick and fast. And at the moment, that is our general estimate at 10 kilometres from the point of finish. Motte would be in 2nd place, 1 minute 23 seconds back. Le Monde now dropping further back, 3 minutes 24 seconds. This is not Le Monde's day.
No, well, even if he can hold that at 3 minutes 24 seconds, it's going to be a big time deficit to make up. It would really mean that Indereen would have to have a bad day, lose a lot of time for Greg to make up that sort of time. When Indereen's riding so good, there's no way Greg can take that time back in a time trial, and in the mountains I don't know whether it could drop him either.
Well, Fignon beginning to struggle, but Bugno looks like he's prizing his way up the front. Charlie Motte is just hanging on to Fignon's wheel. Charlie, of course, is a good one for coming back. He's been doing most of the chasing, actually. Fignon has sat on the wheels, and Bugno began to do what he's done so often in this tour, put the hammer down, getting towards the back end of the race. So Bugno's going away, definitely away from Fignon, and Bugno, who, as he came into this race today, was in 9th overall on general classification, 6 minutes 26 seconds down on the previous leader. LeBlanc is certainly moving his way up the general classification as well. So we're going to see lots and lots of changes today. The other beneficiary, Chiappucci, is at 8:51, so he's moving up from 13th place up into the top half dozen or so as well. Laurent Fignon, 12th this morning at 7:47, also going as strong as he can do. What a great race we've got today, and this finish being used for the first time at Val-Thorens is going to see another epic in the Tour de France history. And the races every year, I must say, as I've been on the Tour for many years now, it seems to get more competitive, more exciting, more going on, and less predictable.
That's right, David. There's the action in this race has been on since the first day, when those 11 riders rode away with Greg LeMond and Eric Brooking. Really shook this race up, and it's been on ever since. All the top riders have been attacking in the closing stages of even the flat stages, which years ago was unheard of for top riders. They would sit down the back and stay out of trouble and just wait for these mountain stages and the long time trials. But now you can never be sure. The action is on every day. The yellow jerseys changed probably more times in this Tour de France than in the last few years. Greg LeMond, 2 times winner before, back here in this group. Who's to say that he was going to win with so much competition around, with so many guys attacking him? Indurain and Chiappucci and Motte, Bugno, they all want to win this race. There seems to be more competition than in other years. FICP points, big money for contracts. It just inspires guys to do bigger efforts when they know that their bank book's going to be full by doing bigger results.
And beautiful view down there of the lake. Yes, the yellow jersey on the shoulders of Marie after prologue time trial. Day 1, Le Mans got it back. Then day 2, we went into day 2, Sorensen, yellow jersey, because his team did well in the team time trial. He held it for 4 days till he crashed out into Valenciennes. Thierry Marie got it back with that brilliant long break into Le Havre. Then Thierry Marie kept it the next day, but lost it in the time trial to Greg LeMond. LeMond held it just for 4 days and then blew it yesterday. LeBlanc got it back again. Now LeBlanc's lost it. It really has almost got a kiss of death on it at the moment, the yellow jersey. And here, Bugno, rhythmic, beautiful, is going away from Fignon and Motte.
Well, I wonder if Bugno's pulling time back on these front 2 riders now. He's alone. He doesn't have to worry about anybody sitting on him and trying to beat him at the finish. All he has to do is go all out. He's got nothing to hold back for. He's chasing these 2 riders in front. This very, very excited supporter here on the side of the road, running alongside him, wishing him well. Bugno just looking back there to see where the other 2 riders were that he dropped. And I don't think he has to worry about them very much.
I think that spectator was looking for a heart attack the way he was running up there. And Spanish spectators out. You see the flags being waved as well. And Bugno, what a stylist, an absolutely superb stylist on his way up this hill. Lovely, comfortable ride. Remember when he took off when he won the Wincanton Classic last year? Took everybody by surprise. He took off on the last lap of the Wincanton, which is a tough old course, and away he went. And the helicopter picked up this person. I looked down, I thought, that's got to be Bugno the way he went. He just rode everybody else off at his wheel after they'd been going over the big climbs early on that 3 loops that took him over Ditchling Beacon and those umpteen little laps around Brighton. Well, the Wincanton Classic again after this race finishes on the Sunday in the Champs-Élysées. 1 week later, many of these top riders will be in Great Britain in the Wincanton Classic down there at Brighton. And I wonder if his man Bugno can repeat it and win that race again. But he's in fine form. And here we are, Motte struggling. He's gone away from Motte. He's gone away from Fignon. And these 2 now are just hanging on and hoping something comes back into their legs.
Well, former teammates only a few years ago, Motte and Fignon. They both rode together with Cyril Guimard. and they were in the same team as Gerard Drouet, who was just a couple of short minutes behind with Greg LeMond. These guys have all been teammates together. Greg LeMond rode with Fignon and Motte at the start of his career as well, so you can see Guimard's brought a lot of good riders up, but these two here know each other very well. And I wonder if Fignon wants to just get to the line before Fignon today to show the French press that he is still the old man.
And a great man too. When you just think about it, if you just come in and switched on a television set to see how the Tour de France is going, I tell you, these people started out at 10 to 9 Central European time, that's 10 to 8 British time, and they've been now in the saddle for some, what's it been, 6-7 hours, exactly 7 hours as they start this morning, and all you people have been out to work, and you had your lunch, and you've done an 8-hour day, and you thought, oh God, I'm tired. Just imagine this one. They've been up those 2 Hope category climbs, a first cat, a second cat, now they've got this other big climb they're on now, and that's a day's work, and it's only stage 13 of the 22 stages of the Tour de France. And these are our leaders. Bruno is trying to catch them, but the way Pucci's going at the moment, with Indurain on his wheel, he'll have to go very hard, because these two have set a very, very fast pace over the last 30 kilometres. And looking up there to see what the gap is, so 1:45, he's catching them back in a bit. Gianni Bruno's coming up quickly as we there have that 4 kilometres to go. Gianni Bruno, he might yet catch them.
Well, he's picked up a minute 30 in only just a couple of kilometres, and these two don't look to be going as fast as Bruno was just before. They seem to be watching each other a little bit, and Bruno, see him here. This is the second motorbike we've got now with a camera on Bruno. He seems to be riding very smoothly, a bit bigger gear than Pucci, but it's a difficult climb here and very steep. Fignon and Charlie Motte just behind them from the third motorbike. They've been dropped by Bruno, who's trying to get across to these front two riders. And Neil, we've got an overhead view of the group behind with Greg LeMond.
And there the action. We're back now with Bruno. Sorry about the little flick on the screen. I mean, a few technical problems, and Fignon concentrating here, looking down on, he's got one of those little cyclometers, those going round, because as the little click thing goes past it, it actually activates it. He's now picking up the distance, the time, and the average speed. I think all he wants to do is see the finish line, not his computer blinking away.
Yes, and if you're having difficulty out there working out who's in front and who's behind, so are we, because these shots that we're getting from overhead and from different motorbikes, one after the other, we're trying to work out, and here we go again. But this is Gianni Bruno. He's the third man in the race. He's chasing two riders who are out in front of him. They're only 1 minute 45 seconds ahead. He won the Tour of Italy last year, and he's a current Italian champion now. He's trying to peg these riders back as he comes up to the flag under the 4 kilometre mark. 4 kilometres to the finish for Gianni Bruno.
Well, we had a time check of 1 minute 40 seconds actually, Alan. I've got my watch going on that 4 kilometre to go banner, and we thought he was accelerating, but it could have been on time check, because there it is, and I'm just going to check it now as he comes up here, because my time check says as he is there, 1:58 is the time I've got now at 4 kilometres to go for Bruno.
Well, he could have lost a little bit, David. It looks like he was slowing down a bit, and it looks as if Laurent Fignon and Charlie Motte might even be getting back a little bit. Motte's been dropped by Fignon now as they come up to the 4 kilometre mark as well, but I would say they're closing back up on Bruno. Maybe he's just gone a little bit too deep. He didn't have that energy left to do it.
Well, and as Fignon goes underneath the barrier, it was 2:25 to Fignon, and I'll give 2:28 to Motte, and that's the time that we've got here. So
Greg LeMond's at 6 minutes now. He's gone out of the yellow jersey by the look of it. He'll be trying to hold his losses down to a minimum, but this climb's so steep, and if Greg's tired, then I would say he'll probably lose a couple more minutes on these first riders. Back with Gianni Bruno trying to catch these two front riders. He's having it difficult by the look of him. It's a very steep climb here. Look at those arms working as well. The tension on those arms and the muscles just sticking out. He's not showing any expression in his face, but Bruno never really does.
And so it looks like he might have gone one notch too early, because unless they've been actually practiced on this particular hill, it's not known exactly what the climb is like. Look, LeBlanc is payback 9 minutes behind as Charlie Motte gives our cameraman a bit of a wash down with the water. He knocked that one out of the way. Certainly overcame overcast now. There have been threats of thunderstorms, and let's hope that he keeps fine at the finish of this race. Fignon up there beginning to pull back Bunyo, and what a bad day for LeBlanc, who's now back some 9 minutes. He must be, by the time they get to finish, well over 10 minutes down.
Well, if he hasn't lost more, David, it's a difficult last climb, and if you're tired, you'll lose a lot of time here. Motte looked like he was just in trouble there, and Fignon was still battling on now. He's the 4th man in the race. He was at one stage 35th or 40th, probably a minute behind the large 30-man group there at over the top of the Col de Tourmalet. But now he's back in the race. He must have got his second breath, and he's chasing Gianni Bruno, who we see here, and I would say Fignon must be getting up close towards Bruno.
And these riders, where have we got? Le Monde is taken the inside line. Boyer still on the front, shows us with them. Andy Hampson sitting back a little bit off the pace with Rouet as well. The crowd urging them on up this climb. The clock I got at 4:31. I'm still trying to see where we're going to that 4 kilometres to go. And Bunyo further up, and they go up and up. This is like a mini Alpe d'Huez, the way it sort of twists and turns with all these hairpins, because the angle of the hairpins makes it more difficult as they go around them.
Well, here's Laurent Fignon, the 4th man in the race. He's really fighting now. He's got rid of Motte. He's on riding on his brake levers, but he's giving it everything he's got. You notice his little ponytail there. In my book, he looks like a pirate when his hair's like that. He's trying to catch Bunyo, and I would say he must be getting pretty close to him.
Well, I'm not quite sure. I didn't see a flick on the right-hand side of our camera then, but I'm sure they wouldn't have missed him. Must have been a spectator on the side of the road. So Fignon, gritting his teeth, nodding and rocking and nodding and rocking, but that's not the sign to me of a man that's absolutely cooked. It's a man that's really putting all he can into riding his bike up this slope.
Back with Gianni Bruno. I don't think he'll be making too much time up on the 2 leaders, Indurain and Chiappucci. He made a good effort to try and get across to him, pulled 30 seconds back, and but then it all got too much for him, and it seems like his tempo slowed down a little bit. People pouring water over him as he comes under the 3 kilometre from the finish mark. This looks like a Spaniard there on the side of the road, running along, giving him courage to get to the finish. These supporters are really enthusiastic at the Tour de France times, and they want to wish everyone well as they come past.
And they're watching an epic battle, and I hope you people at home are recognising the fact that these riders have been now racing for over 7 hours, and they're still going up the 3 kilometres for Bunyo. That means that the 2 men in front, Indurain and Chiappucci, must be approaching on towards the 1 kilometre to go, because the gap then back to Bunyo was 2 minutes, so they're probably a good kilometre ahead of them. So not long to finish as he goes under the 3 kilometres. The 2 men up in front of Fignon wants out the way. He wants to concentrate. Fignon's doing all he can to get up there. I don't think he'll catch the leader, but what a battle for Fignon.
Eurosport, the Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association with ESOStar.
Greg LeMond is in all sorts of trouble. Not only has he had a crash today when he got bumped by the car alongside him, and came down with a bit of a bang, but he's drifted off the back of his little group, and up in front the damage is still being done then by Chiappucci and Indurain. Bunyo still trying to close up on the last time check we had with 4 kilometres to go, with Bunyo 1:58, Fignon 2:25, Motte 2:28. Information is now that the group containing Le Monde, Boyer, Rouet, Hampson and Chozas is 6 minutes and 5 seconds down on the 2 leaders, and LeBlanc, the previous yellow jersey, is back some 9 minutes plus off the pace of the 2 up in front. Concentrating, looks like he's got himself back, Bunyo, and Fignon trying. Originally we thought he might get Bunyo, but at the moment still Bunyo ahead of Fignon.
Well, this field is really broken up to do today. 2 riders in front, 1 behind by himself, then Fignon behind by himself, Motte behind himself, and then 4 riders behind by themselves. Well, I think it's down to 3 now because Gerard Rouet's been dropped as well. You can just imagine the difficulty of this stage with already 4 mountains covered, and this the last climb up to the finish. Bruno comes under the 2 kilometre flag to go. and these riders are really in pain and suffering at the moment as they try to get to the finish.
It's every man for himself, many of them without company, anybody to ride for, just these excited spectators who I must say from time to time are getting in the way of the riders, and that affects the concentration, and sometimes of course the wall of sound lifts you up, but if they get in the way when you're trying to work at it, you can obviously feel for these competitors. Fignon looks like it's a flatter part of the course now, flat as it's still going uphill, but his rhythm looks like it's come back.
He looks to be riding very well, Laurent Fignon. I'm very surprised he's up here today in 4th position. He's out of his saddle. He's really giving it everything he's got. The first Frenchman, he'll be the first Frenchman in the classification, and that mightn't mean much to a lot of you, but it probably means a lot to Laurent because it's the biggest race in France, the biggest race in the world, and he's the first Frenchman. He's won 2 Tour de France's before. He's looking for a good result, and I think he's going to get it.
And as we now head on in towards the finish, those two riders, Fignon, they're back in 4th spot. They can see the kilometre to go. There's just 1 kilometre left for these two riders heading up towards the finish. Who is going to get the stage victory? In the Tour de France last year, Chiappucci finished 2nd. He did not win a stage. He's not won one yet in the Tour de France. Miguel Indurain took a stage win in 1989. He took a stage win in 1990. He finished 10th overall. It's Indurain that's gone on the front now. Chiappucci is behind him. They're coming up towards some 800 minutes to go. We're back with Bruno through this enormous roar of the crowd, but the battle is up in front between Chiappucci and Indurain, and trying to catch this man is Laurent Fignon. Out the saddle goes Indurain. He starts to go up toward the top of this climb. It's still uphill, and on his wheel Chiappucci's in a good position. That's the best place to be. Can Chiappucci get his first stage victory? He's trying all he can, but up in front of him Indurain is pedaling quite a big gear, and an even bigger one for Chiappucci, who's known to punch around the gears, and still there, the finish beckons these two riders. Any predictions, Alan?
Well, Chiappucci's in his outside ring. He's won bunch sprints before. He's not a slouch in a sprint, even on the flat roads. I would say Chiappucci, Indurain's on the front. Chiappucci's not going to pass him again before he comes up to the finish. It looks like it's flattening out a bit. Indurain's got his big gear going as well. It's a slight corner here, and they must only have 300 or 400 metres to go. I hope Chiappucci doesn't leave it too late.
Well, Chiappucci, winner of the Milan-San Remo this year. He absolutely bounced up the Poggio, rocketed down the other side. This massive crowd on a natural grandstand can see two riders coming in, and that is the sign which now says they're in toward the finish. 300 minutes to go, and still up in front there, swinging around that sharp left-hander. Goodness knows where they've gone. They've managed it still with Indurain on the lead, and behind Chiappucci in the best spot. All the cars out the way now, and still Chiappucci decides to go for it on the outside of Indurain. Can Indurain come back at him? Indurain, it looks like he's shot it. Chiappucci's gone to his first stage victory in the Tour de France. 7 hours, 11 minutes and 16 seconds, beating Indurain for that one. A 32 kilometres per hour, the average speed. That's over 20 miles an hour, over some of the worst country they could have. And here is Gianni Bruno riding, and he looks to me as if he's caught back some time.
Well, he's riding well, Gianni Bruno. He's done well to drop Charlie Malte and Laurent Fignon. He's so smooth as he comes up, and here we've got Greg LeMond and his teammate Eric Boyer in the wheel. Boyer looking around, making sure Greg LeMond's in his wheel. He's trying to get him up there so he doesn't lose too much time, and back with Bruno as he comes around the last few corners before the finish.
And Bruno is rolling quite a big gear. Has he shot his bolts? You think he would know now that Fignon is coming up towards him, but he's just taking it a little easier. The 2 seconds he's like the game will be to an advantage, but Bruno moving up into 3rd spot, and Fignon now just under the 1 kilometre to go, so he certainly is going to catch Bruno. But what a great ride Fignon has done. The way he came up, if you've just joined us, we have to say that Fignon's performance today, when he came up to get to Leblanc on the valley, joined up with him and then forced the pace through to finish as he's going to finish in 4th place, as Bruno comes in then for a 3rd place on the stage, still looking remarkably comfortable. And I think he has pulled back a little bit, because at one time it was well over 140 in arrears, and he's going to be somewhere around about 135, I thought. No, 128 in arrears for Bruno.
Well, a good ride by Bruno here. He's kept his losses to a minimum. He's moved up a few places in the overall classification. We're back with Laurent Fignon. He's giving it everything he's got. He's suffering over into the last metres of this race. He's just got to get around a couple more corners, and it's downhill to the finish. You see the way he's rocking from side to side. He's fighting and fighting and fighting. He doesn't want to lose any time. He's 1:54, 1:55 behind now, and I would say probably 2.5 minutes behind when he gets to the finish.
So Fignon then, who is really giving, I think, all his critics an answer, because a lot of people said, is he finished? He struggled through this year. He won that last stage of the three-day race at Tour de Puy in Italy, and that showed he got some form coming, but I think he surprised everybody today by his brilliant riding, and Fignon is back with a bang. He's going to be quite a bit down at the moment, but still is going to move him way up the general classification. And the French crowd here absolutely excited and delighted, because this really shows that Fignon, whoops, the cameras are supposed to go straight on. They nearly took some of the officials with them.
Yes, here's Laurent Fignon coming over the line, pulling out everything he's got in the last metres to make up a few more seconds with a good sprint towards the line. He doesn't look that tired, does he, David?
No, brilliant ride. 2 minutes 50 seconds down for Fignon after jumping across and joining up with those groups. But this is a man who's going to remember today, or perhaps in fact I think he'd want best to forget it. There's still a long way to go in this Tour de France. We've seen so much when people have been suffering one day and bouncing back the next, that it's not all over by any means as far as Le Mans is concerned. He's got sterling work ahead of him by his teammate Eric Boyer. We've no pictures, but we had the time clock going, and I can tell it's 3 minutes and 17 seconds. And here we will have one rider, Charlie Motti, on his own, got dislodged, but Greg LeMond looks like he's losing a lot more time. He's beginning to grovel, and there's still some way to go. Yes,
Greg's already 3 minutes 30 down. It's not easy to get back that much time, and he's still got quite a way to go till he gets to finish. We haven't seen him come under the kilometre flag yet. Charlie Motte coming over the line now. He's done a great ride today as well. He's lost a bit of time on Fignon, but that doesn't really matter. He had such a hard day yesterday when he was out in front with those 6 riders to win his second stage in a row. Motte now coming across the line in 5th position, 3 minutes 53 behind.
So Charlie Motte won 2 stages in succession, still showing his power to finish 5th. That's a remarkable recovery by Motte. Again, a great animator of the stage today. And Le Monde just sitting on the wheel of Boyer. He can't even raise the gallop to go past his teammate. He's just sitting there and waiting for the agony to stop, because he knows when he gets to the top of this hill that the yellow jersey that he was searching for will not go onto his shoulders. Indurain is going to get that one. He's got to minimise his deficit all the way up that he can do, because he is a good time trialist. Indurain's a good time trialist, with a lot more hills yet to come, because after we finish today's stage, we have some undulations afterwards. I mean, tomorrow Albi to Alès. There are just these 5 third category climbs. Then we go from Alès to Gap, and there's only 1 fourth category climb. And then, of course, we hit the big one from Gap to Alpe d'Huez. So got a couple of days on the flat. That shouldn't change the general classification too much. We've said that before, and somebody's gone for a long one and altered things. But nevertheless, this race full of excitement all the way through. The handlebar tape of Greg LeMond then blowing in the wind as a result of that crash. There's dirt on his Z jersey where he came down with a bit of a bang. It disrupted his racing, but that isn't the only reason why Le Mans is really struggling.
Yes, he's 5 minutes 15 behind now. Eric Boyer looking around there to see where Greg is, making sure he can keep him in the wheel, but Greg is really suffering now. He's losing a lot of time. I just hope they get to the finish pretty quickly. He's got 1 kilometre to go. I just saw him go under the flag there. It's a little bit uphill now, and I would say another kilometre, David, probably add on another 1 minute 30. He's probably going to be in the region of 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes behind when he gets to the finish.
Yep, 7 minutes, and he started out this morning with Indurain at, let's see, just about a couple of minutes, 2 minutes and 10 seconds behind him, so he's going to be well over, or nearly 5 minutes behind Indurain. That is a monumental deficit. I hope I got my sums right, but he's certainly going to lose a lot of time. Hampson coming in then, that's a good ride. He's flicked away out towards the end from the Le Mans group.
Yes, well, Indurain, actually, David, was 4 minutes 44. Oh, no, sorry, you are right. I was looking at LeBlanc's time, so he has lost a lot of time on Indurain, and that's going to be difficult to peg back.
Yep, so Greg LeMond will have to think about that one, but certainly he answered his critics early in this race, the way he kept bouncing back, and shows us coming in at 6:22. These are the other riders that part of that group. Gerard Rouet is well down the mountainside, still struggling to come up. He was in this little breakaway. We saw Conti as well. He's drifted off the back. LeMond looks like he's easing off his Velcro fastenings on his shoes for some reason. Perhaps he's getting a bit of a cramp.
Yes, Greg's always got a lot of trouble with his feet, cutting holes in his shoes because his feet don't fit and getting cramps in his feet. It could be the heat that's causing a bit of cramp in his foot, or possibly the tiredness of the muscles in his feet. But he's lost quite a bit of time today, Greg, but it's amazing to see that the first 10 riders coming across the line here in the Tour de France, the biggest race in the world, already have 7 minutes between them. What's it going to be like when you get the next 150 riders coming in?
Oh, I think they need lights on the bike for some of the lads at the back of this one today. My sympathy goes out to them all.
Well, Greg LeMond's just come across the line now. I don't think he'll be a terribly happy man tonight. He'll be feeling quite sad that he's lost so much. And here's Jean-Francois Pienaar, fantastic rider, this rider. He's come up, he's 7 minutes 30 behind. He lost a lot of time at the start.
So Bernard on his way in, and he's going to get 7:37. That's good for Bernard. He's well up there.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport.
That gives you some idea of the massive organisation that has to go to the stage finishes. A shot there of the publicity vehicles, the camper vans, everything all set out here. It's a monumental task. It just doesn't appear by magic. The men that have to travel with this lot and the television cameras have to go ahead. They have to put up all his victory roster. And the man coming forward then, having won his first stage in the Tour de France, Claudio Chiappucci now with the spoils of victory. He started out today in 13th place. This is the 13th stage of the Tour de France. It's lucky numbers as far as Chiappucci is concerned. He's got a stage victory he's been searching for so often in the past. He rides number 11. Bontempi is 13 in his team. I've no doubt they'll all go back and celebrate that one tonight. Well done, Claudio Chiappucci. What a Grazie ride we had from today.
Yes, he's a very happy man down there now. Chiappucci's a very nice fellow. Always got time to say hello to everybody, whether it be other riders or personnel or just people standing on the side of the road. It's nice to see this guy get up here and have this fame of the Tour de France, winning probably the hardest stage of the Tour de France this year. He's really shown he's a top rider now, and last year wasn't just a fluke.
And there are all the vehicles. You see the large lorries that transport the barriers we have to put up there, and I say this podium as well. They really do have to move. And here we have the spotted jersey, a change. Aha!
I thought he might have been going for that today. He won it last year, and he likes to show that he can climb as well. So he must have picked off a few of these mountain prizes today to pull on the spotted jersey now. And here we've got a replay of the finish. Chiappucci coming across the line, Indurain second.
Well, Claudio Chiappucci took the all-category climb, collecting 40 points for first for that one. You see, the first of the day. He also took this one, which is the first category climb. I think he took the other all-category as well. So he's been really collecting a hatful of points, and he's got a lot to go home with today.
He looks like a happy little boy, doesn't he? Such a baby face he's got.
But hang on, he's about 28, 29?
No, I think he's a little bit younger than that, Dave. I think about 25, isn't he?
Oh, wait, I'll check the old facts. You keep talking. He was born on February 28th in 1963 in Uboldo in Italy.
Well, he is 28 years old.
There we are. You buy me a drink tonight.
I'll buy you two.
There we are. You see those dishes down there too? That's the satellite beaming device that chucks the picture up into the sky. Sorry about the picture breakup we've had during the tour today, but there we are. Motte in second place at 3 minutes. Bruno just 10 seconds behind him in third. Chiappucci is now fourth at 4 minutes and 6 seconds, and Le Mans fifth at 5 minutes and 8 seconds. That is absolutely remarkable. We've seen the Tour de France being fought over by fractions of seconds, covering the top 3 or 4 riders, and now it's into minutes already. And this beautiful scenery you see behind, that's done the damage, the big mountains of today. And coming out here then up onto the rostrum to take that glorious yellow jersey. This must be a great occasion for him. So Indurain will take the yellow jersey and another of those lions which have been coming up every day. Not one for Greg LeMond. I said the other day he got enough to stock a zoo now as Greg, so he won't like to lose the yellow jersey. But the little lion then going to Indurain to take home with him.
Well, Indurain very happy to pull on the yellow jersey. We saw him come along across the line and throw his arm in the air. Wild gesture that he knew he was going to pull the yellow jersey on. Now he's got the flowers in the air. The first time in the yellow jersey. He's got 3 minutes advance on Charlie Motte in second position. I think they're really going to have to ride him to ride this man out of the jersey. Look at that healthy picture of a man up there. A true sportsman, a great physique. They're really going to have to go to get him out of this yellow jersey.
Well, yes, because the time he won a stage last year in the Tour de France was the big one up Blagnac to Lux Ardiden, and so he's a very good hill climber indeed. He's quite a useful time trialist. He won the 73-kilometre time trial we had the other day, so he's a great all-rounder. He's certainly going to take some dislodging. And the way that Jean-Francois Bernard came up as well from this Benesto team, it shows they've got strength in depth. We've seen Rondon chasing down breaks yesterday. Delgado is the one that's suffering in their squad, but I'm pretty sure he's covered in lipstick there. But Indurain is not going to want for much help tomorrow to keep that yellow jersey.
No, well, I think he'll be able to keep it pretty well tomorrow and the days after. We'll see what happens in the Alps. And the time trial, we know he can time trial as well. It's been a great day for Indurain and a great day for cycling. The Tour de France has really shown you some effort today. It's been a fantastic race. Here we've got the Classement General up there again. Laurent Fignon's moved up into 6th place at 5:53. What a great ride by Laurent Fignon to show that he's not out of contention yet for a good top place.
Well, we'll be covering the Tour de France again tomorrow, and we hope you can join us. The rest of the field coming in here, and a lot of them a long way down the valley still will be struggling to stay in and to finish this race today inside the time limit. The race then tomorrow we will have on air at around about 3 o'clock in the afternoon Central European time for an hour and a half to about 4:30, or just after that 4:40 the case may be, again Central European time. We're going out of the Pyrenees, heading back in towards the bottom right-hand corner of France, and the riders I know tomorrow will have some very sore legs, and the interesting thing is how many of the 183 that start this morning will actually be with us tomorrow. We've already had some abandonments early on this morning, and look at the zigzag climbs that they've come over. Beautiful scenery, magnificent up here for walkers and people who want to ride their mountain bike. But for racing, this one to me has been one of the hardest stages I've seen in the Tour de France for a long time. You have to go back and remember many tough stages, but this one's been an absolute cracker.
Yes, fantastic stage. I don't think I've seen such an exciting stage for a long time, David. There was attacking going on all the way. All the best riders were willing to have a go and not just watch each other like they have in other years. They've really broken open the race, but we've got to put it all down to Indurain and Chiappucci for doing all the work. They've really got in there and done their best to move up in the classement and ride Le Mans and LeBlanc out of the yellow jersey. It's been a great day for cycling.
Well, and of course over the top of the Col de Tourmalet we had that souvenir en Grange. That was a special prize for the winner that went over there in first place. In memory of the man who founded this great Tour de France in 1903, when the riders covered an average of 400 kilometres a day. They covered 2,428 kilometres in 6 stages. The Grand Boucle, as they call it, the big circle, had started in 1903. It always has been an epic event in its time. And over the years it's seen some great racing, and we've got a cracking race this time, and I think that Henri de Grange, who had his special prize today being won, will be up there somewhere looking at this one and saying, well, what I started is going on in fine form. It goes from strength to strength. It's so international now, and now we've got a Spaniard in the yellow jersey. We've had Frenchman when Marie started it. We had Le Mans then take it over from America. Sorensen, the Danish rider, had it on his back as well. We've had Abdul Japarov in the green jersey as the points champion from the Soviet Union. We had stages won in this year's race by Ribeiro, the Brazilian. It really is a League of Nations. And look down there at that massive, it's going to take them hours to get off the top of that hill.
It sure will, and I think these riders will be just dying to get home and back to the hotel and have a shower. It's been such a long day. Just about some of these riders who are a long way behind will probably be 8 hours already in the saddle, David.
Well, and that's Gilles Dillon having a few words to say. He's done remarkably well today. He came in this race. A lot of people weren't too happy about his form, but he's in very good form. Well, the sign there, the sight there of the massive crowd. There's still so many riders to come. There's more still out on the road than have actually finished of the 183 starters this morning. Well, we hope we've enjoyed your coverage. Our coverage of the Tour de France is from behalf of Alan Pipe and myself, David Duffield. It is time to say goodbye.
Eurosport. The Tour de France. This program is brought to you by Eurosport in association with Isostar, the fast-acting isotonic thirst quencher.